This episode of Android Q&A is brought to you by Domain.com. We got Note 5 leaks, Sony Xperia leaks, and the Shield tablet is on fire. In a bad way. This past week, EVLeaks tweeted out the probable specs of the Galaxy Note 5, allegedly including an Exynos 7420 system on a chip, 4 GB of RAM, 32 GB of internal storage, a 5.66-inch 2560 by 1440 display, a 16 megapixel rear camera, likely featuring the ISOCELL sensor that Samsung unveiled earlier this week, a 5 megapixel front-facing camera, probably wide angle, with Android 5.1.1, and sadly, my friends, no SD card support. Now, the most interesting part of these photos showcase a stylus dock. It was previously believed that the stylus would have auto-ejecting capabilities. Then rumors suggested that it would be a push-to-release mechanism. These rumors were then contradicted by a Korean source, which indicates that the stylus release method will be similar to all the other previous Note handsets. Now, Xperia fans will be happy to know that we have two alleged leaks of two different Xperia devices. Earlier this week, Russian tech site hightech.mail.ru leaked both devices in full, giving us a good look at what is possibly Sony's upcoming smartphones. The Xperia C5 Ultra is arguably the most interesting of the two. It has a big 6-inch Full HD display that extends all the way to the left and right sides of the chassis, giving it an almost bezel-free aesthetic. According to the leak, the bezels on the left and right sides measure only 0.8 millimeters in length, which is very thin indeed. The C5 Ultra also sports a 13 megapixel rear and front-facing camera, complete with a front-facing flash. In addition, it's powered by an octa-core 1.7 GHz MediaTek processor, 2 GB of RAM, 16 GB of onboard storage, microSD expansion support, as well as a 2,930 mAh battery. According to recent leaks, the device should launch somewhere around $350 US. The C5 Ultra also sports a 13 megapixel rear and front-facing camera, complete with a front-facing flash. In addition, it's powered by an octa-core 1.7 GHz MediaTek processor, 2 GB of RAM, 16 GB of onboard storage, microSD expansion support, as well as 2,930 mAh battery. According to recent leaks, the device could launch for somewhere around $350 US. The Xperia M5, on the other hand, looks to feature a similar design aesthetic to that of the Z3 or Z3 Plus, which unfortunately blends in with most other Sony devices on the market. It comes with a 5-inch Full HD IPS LCD, an octa-core MediaTek Helio X10 processor, 3 GB of RAM, 16 GB of internal storage, and microSD expansion. This device also comes with a 13 megapixel camera on the front and back and has an IP65 and IP68 certification. It would likely launch somewhere around $400 US and be available in black, silver, and gold color options. Now, Nvidia is apparently recalling some of their Shield tablets due to a fire hazard, because Nvidia just announced a recall program affecting Shield tablets sold over the last year. Nvidia is asking affected Shield owners to submit a claim to receive a replacement device. Not all units are affected. In order to check to see if you need to replace your Shield, you must follow the steps at this link right here. Nvidia did not detail the reasons behind the recall, other than to say that, quote, tablets can overheat and pose a fire hazard, unquote. From the multitude of reports about injury and damage caused by faulty electronics, this is not an issue you want to take lightly, so make sure to go through the recall as soon as possible. Have any one of you guys had that problem with your Shield tablet? Let me know, I'd like to hear it in the comments below. So in last week's About Me video, I talked about my first YouTube channel, How to Become TV, and I got the domain name howtobecome.tv because I couldn't get the .com, so I was losing some free traffic. Why? Because no domain name extension tells your story with the same level of trust as a .com or .net domain name. .com and .net domain name extensions inject credibility into your online presence. And who doesn't want more credibility? You can save 15% on domain name and web hostings when you use our coupon code ANDROID at domain.com checkout. Don't forget, 15% off when you use our coupon code ANDROID. When you think domain names, think domain.com. Thanks for watching Android Army. My name is Jayce. Love to connect with you right here on Google Plus or Twitter, and I will follow you in the comments below. I read all of them. You don't want to forget about my brothers and my sister in Android. Did you see Crystal's first show last week? That was amazing, her first show. Did you see my first show on here? It wasn't anything like that. So go check out my brothers and sister in Android, who are working very hard to be your source for all things Android.